Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Maintaining Your PMP Certification, presented by our Head of Management Solutions at Educate 360, Brent Nair. My name is Mariela Salinas, and I will be assisting in moderating our session today. We are in Zoom for today's webinar, and we will be sharing a copy of this recording with all of you in an email after the session. We do encourage participation throughout the webinar, so please use that chat or that Q&A option for our short Q&A after the presentation. Educate 360 is so excited to present this webinar today. So without further ado, I will hand it over to you, Brent.
Thank you, Mariella. Welcome, everybody, and happy Friday. I hope everyone has great plans for the weekend, and if not, it's not too late to plan ahead. Before the beginning of today's webinar, Mariella and I were talking, and it's strawberry season where we are in the Mid-South, Dallas to Memphis area. And so we both were talking about how we're going to either go pick strawberries or go to the farmer's market and get some strawberries. So I hope you all have an opportunity to have a fun weekend and don't spend too much time figuring out how you're going to maintain your PMP certification. So with that, let's go ahead and begin. My name is Brent Nair, and today we're all about maintaining your PMP. I have been fortunate that I've had my PMP for over 20 some years. And throughout that period, I've always made sure that I have maintained my PDUs. Occasionally, I'll have students that come into class, the PMP class, and they've let their PDUs drop and they have to go through the recertification process. So hopefully what we talk about today will instill in you some shortcuts or some ways to quickly earn your PDUs. And that PDU, by the way, stands for Professional Development Unit, as it regards to the PMI PMP certification. One other point that I'd like to before we begin is that your PDUs, if you have multiple PMI certifications, those same PDUs more than likely will apply for your additional PMI certifications. So for me, I have my PMP, my PMI ACP, Agile Certified Practitioner, and my PMI Construction Professional. I've been able to apply PDUs, the same activity, the PDUs counted for all three of my certifications. I've also been able to apply those PDUs to my CISSP, which is Certified Information Security Professional certification. So with that, let's go ahead and begin. So we're going to talk about what is a PDU, how many do you need, how do you earn them, and of course open it up for questions and answers. And I like this slide not only because the picture's kind of cool, but it is a journey. Your certification doesn't end when you pass the exam, although we'd love it to. We have to earn professional development units throughout the lifetime that we're going to maintain our PMP certification. So with that, quick poll. What's your interest in obtaining PDUs? Go ahead and answer it. We'll give you a couple of minutes there. We're just curious to see what everybody's interest is.
Awesome. I'll go ahead and give us about 30 seconds. Thank you all so much. I'm seeing a couple answers already come in.
Yep, I see
Super
they're coming
exciting.
in. Nice. So far, our leader looks like it's just got my PMP and I don't know what's next. And I don't want to have to take the test again. I feel you. That's for me, definitely. Oh, but we've got it. Oh, it looks like, oh, nosing out. We still have
Mm,
30 more seconds if we can squeeze out a couple more.
yeah, absolutely. I'll give us about 30 more. Thanks, everyone.
Well, I think our winner is I just got my PMP. Yay, congratulations. And I need to know what's next so I don't have to take that test again. Well,
Awesome.
we definitely will answer not only that question on the poll, all the others as well, including something else. So, Mariella, should we go on to the next?
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all. Okay. Well, PDU. What is your PDU? What is a PDU? Well, it is a professional development unit. There is a cycle. It is a 3-year cycle from the date you pass the exam, 3 years hence. If you take the exam on a Saturday, that date is important, not the day of the week. So keep in mind that if you take it on a Saturday or a Monday, doesn't mean 3 years from now it's going to be the same day of the week. So it is one professional development unit equals 1 hour of learning activity. And we'll talk about what is a learning activity here shortly, um, what we call contact hours, um, which are needed for the exam, unfortunately, don't qualify to take the exam. So, for example, if you took a PMP prep class, those 35 hours you can't use again for a professional development unit. They're good only as the educational requirement for your PMP to sit for the PMP certification exam. However, if you take a Agile certified practitioner or the construction professional or the program management or the risk, any of the other certifications, those hours that you spend in class meeting those education requirements, you can count those as PDUs. So that's nice that you can do that if you decide to go on and achieve an additional certification from PMI, or maybe you do another certification, say, for example, like SHRM, if you're in human resources, or for me, my Lean Six Sigma black belt and master black belt, as well as my CISSP. Those education hours, I was able to also apply a certain number of those to my professional development units. An update coming soon, of course, is a new PMI guide, project management book of knowledge, PMBOK. The new PMBOK guide, that's the 8th edition, is coming out late fall, early winter 2025, maybe January 26. We'll see. Um, PMI is the leading indicator, is that PMI will release it September, October timeframe. So I guess that's early fall. We'll see. What does that mean for you as a PMP or as someone? Well, for one, it means that your PMP, if you've taken the exam and you've passed it based on the PMI 7th edition, great. You don't have to retake the exam with the introduction of a new PMBOK. You are, as we say, grandfathered in. So you don't have to worry about taking that. Right now, we evaluate or value PDUs based on the way the talent triangle, which include, and we'll see that here shortly, next couple of slides. More than likely, that talent triangle will not change. PMI has not intimated or given us a heads up that, hey, we're going to change the requirement, nor have they said that they're going to change the 60 PDU requirement and increase it. And when we talk about 60 professional development units or hours, that's over a 3-year period, which means you can take 1 year and do all 60, or you can do 20 1 year, 20 the second year, 20 the third year. Or you can do 45 1 year and 15 1 year and then take a year off. You just have to accumulate 60 hours over a 3-year cycle. And that's kind of what I just said. So how do you do that? How do you do that? Well, there's two major categories: education and what we call giving back. Education is all of these. So if you're a member of a local PMI chapter and you have monthly meetings, whether they're in person or virtual, you'll earn professional development units. For me, the local Memphis chapter, we meet every month, with the exception of September when we do a full day learning session. So in a 12-month period, by being a member of the Memphis PMI chapter, I have the opportunity to earn at least 19 hours of PDUs by just attending a meeting. That means, so 11 months, I earn 2 hours for one chapter meeting, and then that 1 month, 8 hours of instruction or 8 hours of different seminars, etc. All of these are applicable. You can read a book and write a little synopsis of the book, turn that in. So let's say, for example, you wanted to read Scrum, The Art of Doing Twice the Work in Half the Time by Jeff Sutherland, the scrum.org founder. You could read that book and turn it in and earn PDUs. Giving back is another one. That's volunteering. Working as a PM, creating content, giving a presentation, sharing knowledge, volunteering. I mentioned that. Working as a PM, you're working already on projects. You can, in a 3-year cycle, you can take 8 hours of your project management work and count that towards your project manager certification, your PDUs. So those are the two categories. Now within the categories, I mentioned that 8 per cycle, creating content, giving a presentation, sharing knowledge. So let's spend a few minutes in talking about the education category. And by the way, you must sit with your feet up on your desk while you read a book, or it doesn't count. I know the slide is a little funny. PMI chapter meetings. Attend a live session. I'm able to, so for example, this webinar. This is a 30-minute webinar. You could count this for a 0.50 PDU if you wanted to. So it is a 0.50 PDU. Other webinars that are related to your job or related to your function may count. All you have to do is show who or whom is the provider, and we'll talk about that here shortly. watch a video on demand as well. Now, I mentioned earlier that there are the talent triangle, and this is ways of working, power skills, and business acumen. When you are reporting your PDUs, you align the subject of your professional development unit with one of these arms, legs, however you want to say it, of the talent triangle, whether it's ways of working, the power skills, the soft skills, or the business acumen. Any one of those three. This is a self-identifier. You choose which one of those. And you may go to a webinar that counts all three. So, or two of them. So maybe you say half in ways of working and half in the power skills. There, you can split them, or you can just say, I'm going to put it all in ways of working. So 8, 8, and 8. So PMI says I need to go ahead and have yes. So would this fall under sorry, one of the things in chat would say yes, this would fall under ways of working. So in that 3-year cycle, you have to have a minimum of 8 in each of them. So how do we log it? So let's go ahead and take a look at how to report them. Well, of course, log in as your account in PMI.org. Go to, here's your certifications. I always hit this, I always hit the drop down up here. Up here, I always hit the drop down and hit dashboard. And then you go to, once your dashboard comes up, click our little button here and go in and report PDUs. And I pick which one it is. Course training, organizational meetings, reading in the education, or giving back. Giving back. A bit of advice. One of the things you can't do is, let's say, for example, your local PMI chapter asks you to make a presentation. So you can't double dip. In other words, that night that you give your presentation at your local PMI chapter, you can't say, well, I'm not only giving the presentation, but I'm attending. So I'm going to put down 4. Sorry, you can only choose either the amount of time you said in creating or preparing for the presentation, um, or doing the presentation versus attending the chapter meeting. So hopefully I made that clear. Be careful not to double dip that. They'll reject it. You go in and here's what it looks like. Filling out the course or training. You put the provider's name, if it's an education. We're up back on the education side. And down here you see as the example, we see that we have this person has 3 certifications, so they can actually choose and count this one professional development unit in all 3 of their certifications. And you just pick it. Fill out the date started, date completed. The other information you see is optional. It's a very easy process. And once you hit submit and you agree that it's accurate, and once you hit submit, you're going to get an email that says your PDU claim has been submitted. And then probably about 5 to 10 minutes later, you're going to get a notification that the PDU has been approved. So Zach, yes, I can do that if we have time, if we do it. However, if you go back and just look here, you would sign in, go to your dashboard, click the little report PDU, and when it comes up, you would pick course or training, And then this would come up and you would say provider name, Educate 360, course, how to report PDUs, and you would give a description, and it's today's date, and then you would put down point 0.5 in this box right here for if it's for your PMP. And if you have any others, you would put point 0.5 as well. Hopefully that helped. So any learning counts, whether it's video, online, webinar, going to a conference, um, reading a book, etc. All of those happen. All of those are considered as long as they fill within those. So aligning with our PMI talent triangle. So here's an example of a let me hold the here's an example. These are examples of synopsis from our classes that you can put down when you're taking the class, and you can see how it broke it down. The multi-day classes, this Power Skills is a one-day class. And these are just ways. How do you know how many hours to claim for a book? Well, I would, in this case, it's how long it takes you to read the book. Now, if you put down 70 hours to read a book, that might be, PMI might say, not sure about that. But if you put down 20 hours or so, or maybe it took you 3 days, well, that's what? That's that you're not reading it all day, 24 hours a day. So what you're doing on the book is you're saying, well, how many days, how many hours per day am I actually reading this book? So Bert, that's what I would put down. If I'm reading it for a month and I'm only spending 1 hour a month, put down 30. And these are just examples. We have a great club. It's called Club PDU. For $500, of course, you have an access to a plethora, over 150 hours of courses that you can take. Rachel, yeah, I think you can also use audiobook for it. I've not heard anybody not be able to use audiobooks. So, oh, thanks. Good. Thank you. You said you can versus it's not a question. Sorry, Rachel. But Club PDU, take a look at that. It is something that we offer, and actually I'm quite proud of it. It's a good offering. So, of course, we have our webinars. This is an example of a webinar. We offer these webinars, Mariella, monthly, correct? So, you can pick up a 1 hour or half hour or whatever the case may be for our webinars. Here are examples of all the webinars that we offer. Um, and I especially like the From Novice to Data Scientist. That was a good webinar. When are we offering that again, Mariella? Anytime soon? I'm sorry, didn't hear you, Mariella.
Hello, hello. Yes, absolutely. We'll be that'll be definitely on the schedule sometime in Q3. So
Okay,
be on the
awesome.
lookout for that.
Awesome. Thanks, Mariana. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I apologize. So there's a lot of there's a lot there. Sorry, we only have a few minutes left, so let me go to this. So here are examples of how it's out there. There is a fee to renew your certification. So even though you've taken the PDUs for 30, 60 months, 36 months, 60 months, sorry, 3 years, you still have to pay the fee to renew. So that also happens. And here's just an example of all of the cycle, the renewal cycle. So all of them, except for the DSA, the DASM, is a 3-year, 36-month cycle. So, we, of course, want you to continue your education with us, and there's tons out there. We'd love to see you again. I'd love to see you in class. With that, though, we have a few minutes of questions. Thank you, Mariella, for putting in chat our learn well about maintaining your PMI certifications in chat. So please feel free to do so. But we've got time. We've got about 5 minutes left. So what questions may I answer for you all?
Hey, Brent, I will absolutely give our audience a second to throw any last minute questions in the chat. But just as a quick reminder, that if you missed out on any part of this session, we will absolutely be sharing a recording with all of you in an email after the webinar. So be on the lookout for that. I think, oh, we had a question in the Q&A. What is the timeline to report PDUs? I'm an active project manager and have been for the past 3 years, but I've never claimed the credits. Is there a timeline?
Yes. So, what was the date you passed your exam? You have to claim all of those the day before you pass your exam. So December 2020. So Jennifer, you might want to go back to PMI.org and see, more than likely, if you haven't claimed any PDUs since December of 2020, your PMP certification has lapsed. I would go to PMI and check. Uh, Usually, oh, no, I've claimed for classes, not for being an active PM. So Jennifer, do you mean you've gone and you've claimed PDUs? As long as you've, yes, okay. So as long as you've claimed your 60 PDUs between December 2023 and December 2023 and 2026, that would, or 2023, your next time is 2026, that all 60 of them have to be completed. Zach, from the date I took the exam or when I was informed I passed. Good point. Usually it says on your on your certificate the date. More than likely, it's the date you passed the exam, not if you were informed. Just recently, as of September of last year, PMI started to change the reporting date. It used to be immediately. And then they said, okay, we gave you a tentative approval, and then it took them 1 to 5 business days to report. So I am not 100% positive if they go by that date that they gave you, not the tentative passing, but the final passing. I'll have to check on that, Zach. But look on your certificate. That's the date. Jennifer, did I answer your question? I hope I did. Also, is this a ways of working PDU? Yes, Zach, it is. It is a ways of working PDU.
Fantastic. All righty. Well, just to be mindful of everyone's time, I want to take a second to thank you all for joining us today and throwing in these engaging questions. Thank you all so much. And of course, thank you, Brent, for your expertise, as
Sure.
always.
Let me make sure for Jennifer before you close us, Mariella. Let me make sure for Jennifer. Now I understood the question. So basically, once every 3 years, you can claim 8 hours as a practitioner. Sorry, now the question's it's clear. So once every 3-year cycle, you can claim 8 hours. So if you haven't claimed it in your current 3-year cycle, do it before the end. Thank you. And thanks,
Excellent.
everybody.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us today, everyone. And again, if you wanted to learn any more info on this topic, please do not be afraid to visit us at projectmanagementacademy.net. And thanks again for joining us today to get up to date with all of your PDUs. Thanks again, Brent.
You're welcome. And remember, don't let it lapse.
That's the best takeaway. No lapsing, but you can always join us for a couple PDUs, and we can always ensure that we can throw someone on the docket for you. So come back, join us again, and hopefully Brent will be here to walk us through a couple more. I'm super excited.
Certainly.
Alrighty. Thanks everyone again, and have a fantastic rest of your day and a great weekend. We'll see you all very soon, hopefully.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Bye everyone.